Hey everybody, I am back for a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the elephant form and the elephant fruit. And luckily, we have two guests of honor here today with us, Princess Peach of the Mushroom Kingdom and Princess Daisy of Sarasland. They have both graciously agreed to come here and help us with this elephant form, elephant fruit and elephant form video. So let's all give a round of applause for the two princesses. Unfortunately, I do have a bit of a bad news. The princesses were not able to come here with the elephant fruit, so we will not be able to see them in elephant form, which is a very, very sad thing, because I was really hoping to actually see them in their elephant form. And to be honest, I was actually hoping that they could have actually brought another elephant fruit with them, right? And I would have enjoyed in trying it out for myself, just to give an idea. Just to get an idea of what the elephant form is like. It's like I can picture it in my hand right now. Like I can see it right there in my hand. But it's not real. It's not real. Why? Okay. That aside from all, let's really get into the video, right? Hello everybody, my name is Clifford and welcome to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the elephant form. So yes, the elephant form, the elephant fruit. It is a very, 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 very unique power-up, especially when you look at it and compare it to other Mario-themed power-ups. Especially when you're referring to the animal-based ones overall. And if you really haven't really noticed it, maybe I'll basically just tell you it, which I'm surprised that you're even needing me to basically explain it. So, the difference here is that with the other previous Mario-themed power-ups, especially the animal ones, they've always been some type of suit that Mario and his friends have worn, right? They've always been like an animal-themed suit based on that animal. However, the elephant form actually physically transforms Mario and his friends into elephants, rather than being a suit. Now, I know a lot of people, so before I really continue, I feel like I need to say this very clearly very first, okay? So, in no way or shape or form am I trying to change anyone's opinion on the elephant fruit, okay? Or the elephant form, right? If you're someone out there who doesn't like the elephant form, that's fine, right? I'm not here to change anyone's opinion on that. Like, no matter what, everyone has their overall opinions on any type of transformation or any type of power-up that Mario introduced, right? I imagine there are people out there who probably don't even like the cat theme suit, right? So, overall, your opinions are opinions, and I'm not here to change that, okay? I'm just here to talk about the elephant form in general, what's so unique about it, why it basically fits the aspects of the Flower Kingdom, and where we might be able to see it next in future installments, okay? So that's just basically what I'm going to discuss on that matter. Plus, stay tuned at the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I'm going to give my insights and details on another animal-based power-up that could be very similar to how the elephant form works, and I believe this animal could represent the Mushroom Kingdom, much like how the elephant represents the Flower Kingdom, right? So stay tuned for all that. So let's get back into the actual video, right? So yes, the elephant form, right? Where every other previous animal-based power-up has basically been like some type of animal-themed suit, the elephant physically transforms Mario and his friends into actual anthropomorphic elephants, which is a very weird and odd thing, and very different. However, I would also describe it as being like a good diff, right? It's a very interesting and very welcoming kind of diff, right? And it is kind of questionable, like why did it take this long before we ever officially got something like this? Why did it ever take this long? And to be honest, your words are as good as mine, right? I have no idea, but you know what? I'm okay with it, okay? Now, I know a lot of people out there don't really like the elephant form and stuff like that. I personally enjoy it very much, right? I actually found it to be very interesting. I thought it to be very unique, and I thought it to be a very cool thing, right? Now, yes, when it comes to the elephant form or any other power-ups that were introduced in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, some people might argue and say that the Jewel Mushroom is more their favorite, or the Bowl Mushroom is more their favorite, right? Or even seeing, or even if you're comparing Daisy, where this is basically her first time ever utilizing power-ups in general in a mainline game, a lot of people might even say that, Princess Daisy and her fire form is their favorite overall. It's like that. So everyone's perspectives on the whole idea of like the power-ups and, which character is your favorite and which power-up is your favorite in that form is all your opinions, right? I'm not here to change those whatsoever, okay? Now, getting into it, when it comes to, especially when it comes to Princess Peach and Princess Daisy, I know a lot of people out there didn't really enjoy them having the elephant form. They probably felt like it was going to ruin their character, and it was basically an insult to them overall, and that it would probably just damage the beauties of them. I felt like Nintendo managed to do it right. I feel like they managed to present Peach and Daisy as their elephant forms and still keep them as themselves. I still felt like Peach was Peach, even in elephant form, and I still felt like Daisy was Daisy in elephant form, right? And that's the key thing to understand here, is that the power-ups themselves, they don't physically transform Mario and his friends into personality-wise. I mean, in a way they probably do to give you an insight on how the power-ups work, but I still felt like, Peach, I still felt like Peach was just as beautiful as her normal self, even in elephant form. And the same thing for Daisy as well. Daisy is my favorite princess overall. Like, I actually like her a lot more than Peach, right? And don't get me wrong, I love Princess Peach, right? She's a great character, but Princess Daisy, I actually care more for Princess Daisy than anything else, right? And I was very excited when she got her inclusion in the Super Mario Bros. Wonder game, and I do hope we can see more from her in future installments, okay? And feel free to, at the end of the videos like that, go into my video section like that, and you might actually notice that there will be a link to a Princess Daisy video where I even give some insights on like an idea, a video game idea for Princess Daisy. So feel free to go check that out if you are interested, okay? So yes, a lot of people out there were very upset about the fact that Peach and Daisy were given the elephant form. I personally feel like it basically works. I'm glad that they're not basically secluded from the rights to have them included in the elephant form. And to be honest, when it came out, originally the general aspect that a lot of people were sort of theorizing here is that the elephant form was just going to be unique for Mario himself, and that everyone else was going to have their own unique animal-based power-up themselves, right? It wasn't just going to be based on the elephant form, even though the fruit was going to be modeled off an elephant, right? Everyone's going to have their own unique animal transformation, and it is truth be told, we had no way of actually knowing any of the characters were going to be elephants. At the same time, it also makes sense for them to all just be elephants rather than being their own unique things, especially when it comes to, well, I mean, that still would have been unique, right? Don't get me wrong, like, even if that was the case, I still would have played the game overall. I'm just basically trying to state here is that I'm glad that they managed to keep it this way rather than the other way, but I still would have played it regardless which way they went, okay? Alright. So yes, the elephant form, right? The elephant form was introduced in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It was released in the previous year, 2023, and around October, okay? And yes, with the elephant form, it is, when it comes to it, is probably the main gimmick of the Flower Kingdom, or basically the main represented power-up that is introduced, and it is probably the overall main theme that we basically use when going throughout the entire kingdom, right? Now, yes, in reality, you could definitely say that the drill mushroom and bubble power-up are more useful when it comes to certain levels rather than the elephant form overall, but the elephant form definitely does fit the aesthetics of fitting fitting the Flower Kingdom overall rather than focusing on a certain scenario in a certain level, okay? And that's basically the idea that is presented here, okay? Now, the elephant form is first introduced in the first level of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, right? Basically, one of the most unique things when you come to the elephant form is its abilities itself, right? And probably the main gimmick of the elephant fruit, or basically the elephant form. I'm sorry if I might get stuck and go back and forth between elephant form and elephant fruit, but keep in mind, whatever I basically say, I'm basically talking about the same thing in general. I'm just basically giving, like, so if I get stuck and I say elephant form when I actually mean elephant fruit, or if I say elephant fruit and I mean elephant form, if I get stuck on those things, please note that I'm not trying to do it on purpose. So I just really want to get this video out there, okay? I just really want to try and get this done, okay? Alright. So the main gimmick when it comes to the elephant form is probably the usefulness of the trunk itself, right? So the trunk basically allows you to store water in your trunk, and you can actually use that water to spray water on dry wilted flowers to reveal like a hidden secrets, okay? You can also, at the end of each level, after you go down the flagpole, you can actually spray water on a poplin if you have water in your trunk, okay? And the poplin will actually bloom into like a flower blossom, right? Which is a very interesting thing. Now, the only frustrating thing about that is that even though there's a poplin at the end of each level, as far as I can tell, and I've beaten the entire game, right? I've beaten the entire Super Mario Bros. Wonder game, and as far as I can tell, not every level actually has water in it that will allow you to douse water on a poplin, which is a very interesting thing here. Is like, okay, that's actually one main critic. That's actually one critic that I actually find very annoying. It's like that, and there were actually some things about Super Mario Bros. Wonder that I found very disappointing in. Right, and I might actually go over those things like that. But it is kind of annoying that you know, you can actually douse the poplins themselves, but not every level includes water in it that will allow you to do that in the first place. Right, so that is a very annoying thing. But I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just a small. That's probably just a small tidbits like that. But you know, just to throw in a few extra things like that. Probably some other things that I was very disappointed in was probably the boss fights. Now, don't get me wrong, right? The boss fights with Bowser Jr. were still unique, right? The wonder effects and the level designs were basically unique, right? The levels themselves overall were perfect, okay? And it wasn't necessarily a problem with fighting Bowser multiple times. It was the fact that it was just constantly Bowser Jr., right? And we didn't get anybody else. Like, to be honest, like, it still would have even been interesting if we could even fight Kamek, okay? Like, when Kamek basically summons some Bowser warships like that, and the whole point of those warships is that you're basically just going through the warships. You collect the Wonder Flower or something like that. You collect the Wonder Seed after you basically beat the Wonder Flower effect. And then afterwards, once you get to the end of it, you basically just hit the self-destruct switch and you destroy the ship overall. Like, literally, Kamek himself serves no purpose, okay? He literally serves no purpose at all. Like, it literally made no sense to even have him there in the first place just to summon the ship, when in reality, you could probably just have the ship be there in the first place. It would literally felt ridiculous, right? Like, I would have much preferred it at the end of each, say like at the end of each level, it's like that, of those ship battles, we actually had to face off against Kamek first, and then, you know, you still have the self-destruct switch, right? You can still have the self-destruct switch, but have a, basically a point to where we actually had to fight Kamek first, and then hit the self-destruct switch, right? And, you know, like, for one thing, for assurance like that, it's a little disappointing, it's like that, is that there were not other, unique things that we couldn't go over, right? And, like, let's say, for instance, right? Let's say they wanted to actually include some, like, mini boss battles like that. Like, you could even, like, right, so here's one thing, for example, right? Two of the kingdoms themselves, like, two of the worlds, the Shining Falls and the Fungi Mines, right? They do not actually include boss fights, right? They do not have any of those, right? Basically, the overall point of the Shining Falls is to basically complete some trials that one of the Poplins have basically put into place for you to complete in order to get the Wonder Seed, okay? Which is a very, very stupid thing. I mean, come on. Bowser is literally destroying your entire kingdom, your entire world, and you're going to be putting your own prince, your own royal himself, into some type of test just to see if he's worthy. I mean, what is up with that? I mean, seriously, and like, look, I love playing the game, right? And we're basically talking about the Elven Form, and yet I'm getting off tangent here, right? So I do apologize, right? But just to point out here, you know what, it would have even been, like, unique, right? Like, it actually would have been more interesting here if, say, for, like, the final aspects of the level itself for Shining Falls, where we had to actually put ourselves through that whole test thing. Imagine if there was actually a bit of a wonder test like that, where the actual Poplin himself was the actual bad guy himself, right? And it wasn't necessarily a bad guy in the sense of, like, he betrayed his prince for Bowser, right? It wasn't nothing like that. It was more of like a test itself, and to sort of give us a bit of a challenge, right? You know, a bit of an interesting lore to basically see if, you know, if we can really handle what can come with us, all right? Like, let's see if you guys can really handle something else, right? That would have been probably very unique and very, very interesting. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. And then with the Fungi Mines, overall, the Fungi Mines purpose was basically, so at the end of it, when you basically go through the Fungi Mines, you're just going through the entire Fungi Mines and basically just finding a bunch of Poplins who were mining in the underground Fungi Mines, who eventually got trapped there. And literally, your whole purpose is to basically just get them out. And literally, there's nothing there to basically stops it or makes it hard for you, right? You literally just travel through a bit of like a small maze while you're in the Wubba form or something like that. And then there's nothing that actually prevents you from getting there, right? Like, literally, you transform into Wubba form, and then you basically just crawl through the walls and stuff like that, and then once you get to the end, you collect the Wonder Seed, return to normal, and then you basically just find the Poplins, and literally, that is it. No major boss battles like that, nothing there to even, like, make it difficult for you, right? Like, it probably would have been unique if they could actually have something there to give us a bit of a challenge. Like, imagine, like, if, say, for instance, like, if Boom Boom or Pum Pum was there, right? Even if you didn't want to have, like, a major boss character, like how the 7 Koopalings were, you know, it still would have been interesting if we could have something there. Like, let's say, like I said, Boom Boom or Pum Pum themselves, right? Maybe they could be very unique, and maybe they could have actually been useful, right? Or any other character overall, okay? So yes, the boss fights were pretty frustrating and very disappointing, but they weren't bad. All right, don't get me wrong. Right, I love the boss fights with Bowser Jr. like that, or especially the Wonder Effects. The Wonder Effects were very unique, and the designs and level formats of the castles themselves were very interesting. Right, they were perfectly fine. It was just annoying that it just relied so much on Bowser Jr. for a constant repeat, and then some of the kingdoms or some of the worlds were basically just, well, lackluster. Right. And there's a lot of other tangents as well, right? Like, you know, I might just basically just say them for the sake of this video and stuff like that, just to get it out there. Look, I'm sorry, right? When it comes to, like, those bonus rooms and stuff like that, like the search parties and break times and all those kind of things, I'm sorry. They were annoying as heck, and I feel like they were ridiculous, okay? And don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying that some of them were not fun, some of them were not very interesting, and some of them were not very playful. but they were kind of annoying to have them as sort of presented levels on the actual level map, I should say, in very clearance here, that they seem to take up a lot of space, right? And it felt like it would be more unique and more presentable if those could actually be more of actual presented levels, because I feel like those would be much more interesting. And, you know, if I had to say it, I would have probably much prefer it if those could actually be like bonus, like sort of like bonus levels and stuff like that, or like, bonus stages within the Poplin's houses, probably to make it more interesting, more unique to actually visit Poplin House. Or even if it can be sort of like a mini game within the main menu, it's like that. You select your main menu, it's like that, and then you can go into like your basically an option thing, it's like that, or basically have like an option thing to choose like your main story or like your bonus game levels like that, and then maybe through each of the kingdoms itself, you have to unlock each of the bonus levels by purchasing it at the Poplin's house, right? Something like that, okay? So overall, yes, there are some different problems like that. Wonder is a great game, right? When it comes to Wonder, everyone probably enjoys the art style and the whole inspirations of the characters have presented, rather than the whole gimmick when it comes to like the boss fights or the critiques with how the levels play out, it's like that. And overall, Wonder is a great game, right? I love playing Wonder. It's probably the best 2D Mario game overall, but that still leaves it with a lot of problems and a lot of frustrations that everybody has, and I'm in agreement with those as well. Even though they're fun to play, they are very, very disappointing, okay? So I just want to say that real quick here, right? I'm probably getting off tangent, but let's get back into the actual video, right? Let's actually get back into the elephant farm, right? So yes, the elephant farm, right? Aside from like using your trunk to water plants and things like that, you're also able to use your trunk to actually smash bricks. And actually, the trunk is your main gimmick when it comes to fighting. You can use the trunk to actually swat enemies and basically knock them out like that, or knock them out of the scenes like that. Basically the whole idea of an elephant's trunk is basically their main weapon of choice. Okay. And other unique things that the elephant form actually gives you is because it gives you sort of like a much larger body, you're actually able to carry larger objects that you're not able to do in your regular form, which is actually a very, very unique thing, okay? And other unique things that the elephant form gives you is that it gives you a much larger hitbox, which is actually probably annoying when it comes to certain scenarios, but also kind of fun, right? And actually, it's kind of interesting when you actually see the elephant form and you're actually just crawling or basically crouching through small spaces. And truth be told, you're probably even asking yourself, how the heck are you actually fitting through there, right? I mean, seriously, I don't know how else to put it, right? Like seriously, like watch Daisy just go through this door, right? Watch Daisy go through this door, okay? You see what I mean? You know how crazy that is? But you know what? It's actually kind of funny, and it's actually... I actually kind of enjoy that. Like, it's actually fun to see the characters struggle to get through certain things in their elephant form. That is very interesting and very, very unique in how they have the expression of the characters and how they are. It is very unique, alright? Now, overall, the only characters that can actually utilize the elephant form are Mario and his brother Luigi, both of the princesses, Peach and Daisy. You also have the Toads, Yellow Toad and Blue Toad, and along with Toadette herself. They are the only characters that can actually utilize the elephant form. Unfortunately, the Yoshis and Nabbit are not able to utilize the elephant form, which is a very sad thing, but overall, it is, that's just the way it is, okay? Okay, so to continue on with the elephant form, right? So here's something, right? What could be the next best installment, right? What could be the next thing we can actually see the elephant form in, right? Or the elephant fruit in general, or actually the elephant form, right? I should probably just stick with the elephant form, right? Where could we see it next? I had three possible ideas on where the elephant form could actually be introduced next in terms of gameplay wise, alright? And here's my ideas, okay? Now, I know a lot of people might feel upset about this, but like I said before, your opinions are your opinions. I'm not here to change it, alright? I'm just here to give my insights of it, okay? So one idea we can actually see the elephant form in next is probably Mario Kart, right? In the next Mario Kart game, we might be able to see it in there, okay? Now, of course, it'll probably be an unlockable character, and then it could also be possible that it would be some kind of DLC character, right? That could be possible as well, okay? Whatever it may be, whether it be an unlockable or DLC character, it's not really the main point. It's the point of, like, how you can definitely see from a certain point of view that it can definitely be in the next Mario Kart game, okay? And probably the main focus and reason on this is that when you look at Mario Kart 8 in general, say that, especially Mario Kart 8, and it doesn't matter if you're looking at the one from the Wii U version or the one in the deluxe versions like that, the way it's presented is like that is that they do have clone characters, right? And I know a lot of people don't like the clone characters. I know a lot of people get annoyed from this like that. A lot of people don't like the whole baby characters and feel like they're useless and stuff like that. A lot of people don't really like having the clone characters like Pinko Peach or Metal Mario and all them. They feel like they just basically take up space and stuff like that. And the way most people will sort of present that is that they basically state that they would be okay with it if they were in like the same character slot that the main characters were in, rather than just utilizing a different spot for a second character. However, I think the main difference here is that when it comes to the Mario characters, right, the main Mario characters overall, I think the main purpose here is that Nintendo wants those characters to feel like separate characters, right? I think they really want Metal Mario or Pinko Peach to really feel like separate characters, rather than being like a rescan and like that of those characters, right? And I feel like they're only going to do that with the main Mario-themed characters, right? So any character that's in the Mario universe itself, I feel like they are going to be presented as separate characters, right? Now, I've sort of presented this before, and I think this could be possible. I think that might only apply to power-ups that basically have a transformation-wise theme, okay? Or basically an age-wise theme, okay? So let's look at a Mario for an example, right? Baby Mario is a baby version of Mario, right? So I feel like it definitely fits perfectly to have him in the small light, and basically in the lightest weight class as compared to Medium Mario. To have him in that class, okay? He's definitely presented as a different Mario, right? He's a baby version of Mario. Yes, he is Mario, but he's a baby Mario, right? So he's definitely different than the Mario we have. And then obviously you can say that for like the let's say the Elephant Mario, right? If Elephant Mario is going to be playable, you can definitely say that Elephant Mario, if he's going to be playable in the next Mario Kart game, he's definitely going to be presented in the heavy class set, okay? And maybe one idea that you can present on why they want the Mario characters, or basically the clone characters, to be so unique, is they want each character to feel, or each racer or who's playing the game to feel like they're playing as their own unique Mario, rather than playing as the same Mario. I know logically that doesn't make any sense, and that's probably a complete tangent like that. And logically speaking, you don't have to necessarily agree with that statement. I'm just trying to basically explain it the best I can. And truth be told, it's probably not the best overall. So I'll just leave it up to that, okay? I'll just leave it there and just let you guys this words of wisdom just talk yourselves through, okay? So, to continue on, right? Mario Kart could definitely be a good fit for the next elephant form to be introduced in it, alright? And I actually, in matter of fact, with it, we even might be able to see like characters like Wario and Waluigi in the elephant form as well, right? That could be possible as well. Maybe in Rosalina herself, right? We might even see them in elephant form, right? And I do hope that it's just not limited to Mario himself. I do hope we get to see other characters with the elephant form in the next Mario Kart game, if this is going to be the case. So let's just hope and see how that actually plays out, right? Another idea we can look at where the elephant form can be introduced next is actually in the next Super Mario Sluggers game, right? Or basically the next Mario Baseball game, okay? And I know a lot of people out there would be very interested in another Mario Baseball game. That would be very interesting in itself. And then, one unique thing we can actually suggest here on the elephant form itself, or basically the elephant fruit, is how you can utilize the trunk when it comes to actually playing baseball, right? So think of it this way, right? When you're looking at, say for instance, when you're looking at Donkey Kong or Funky Kong in Mario Sluggers, Donkey Kong actually used a boxing glove, and Funky Kong actually used a surfboard, right? And, if you're playing as the elephant form, you're, say, like, playing as Elephant Mario or Elephant Luigi, whoever your character of choice is, right? And you're playing an elephant form, right? Imagine if you can actually use the trunk to actually swat the ball and get a home run that way, all right? That would be very unique, right? That would be very interesting, and that would be very playful, right? I would be very down for that. I'd have to say that would be the best. That would probably be the best thing overall. That would be very unique. Okay. So yes, Mario Baseball I could definitely see as a good choice for the elephant form to be playable and things like that. Now, whether or not it be like a special ability and like that, or an overall themed character, much like how the Mario Kart games have been doing, whatever the choice may be, I still feel like it can work, and I still feel like it can actually be perfect. Okay. Alright, and then probably for the last and final thing is, if I had to suggest the next Smash Bros. Game, right? Now, yes, hear me out. I know a lot of people might out there, so basically there are people out there who really do believe that another Smash Bros. Game is going to come eventually, and then at the same time, a lot of people out there probably feel like Ultimate was going to be the final one. I personally feel like they could do another Smash Bros. Game. I don't think Ultimate should be deceived as being, or basically be received as being the last one overall. Like, you can definitely say it can definitely fit the whole aesthetics, but no game itself can really be considered the last game unless your actual narrative to that core of the story is structured to end on that story itself, unless you want to do a repeat or basically a new brand of story where a whole new focus is on a completely different matter, okay? So overall, the elephant form in Smash Bros. Would actually be very unique here, right? And there are ways that you can actually sort of present it here, okay? So we'll just use Elephant Mario as a prime example here, okay? So think of it this way, right? If Elephant Mario is playable as in the next Smash Bros. Game, right? Then you do have some unique ways on how this can work, right? You do have a very unique gimmick when it comes to the elephant form and the elephant-based power-up in general, right? Like, you can basically utilize the trunk in interesting ways to basically attack opponents, right? Maybe even use the trunk itself to have sort of like a special effect or a special ability to actually, blast out water cannons out of your trunk. Probably a little bit different than how it is in Wonder and like that, because you're utilizing more into more like a fighting style game rather than more of like a gimmick structure. Or that is something that would be very different compared to what you originally were able to do, obviously, but it'd still be very unique here, okay? And then when you actually look at it, you might even have like a general idea on how you can actually utilize the other characters in elephant form as well, right? So let's take, for instance, like, because everyone will be in their elephant form, you could definitely say that there's a possibility that there'll be Echo Fighters. Now, I know a lot of people might a lot of people might not enjoy that, but it definitely is a possibility, and it definitely could make a lot of sense, okay? I personally don't feel like the whole Echo Fighter thing really needs to fit. Even if characters need to fight similarities, I don't really feel like it needs to hold to have presentation of Echo Fighters, but that is something that has to be considered here, okay? Other things to go over here is, like, say for instance, right? The other elephant characters could basically be like reskins of Elephant Mario, much like how, for a basic example, take Bowser Jr. and the Seven Koopalings, right? You can literally look at that as a prime example, right? Bowser Jr.'s alternative reskins are basically the Seven Koopalings, okay? So that is a possibility as well, and the elephant forms are basically just reskins of Mario, right? Like, basically, no matter which elephant form you pick, so say like Elephant Mario is your original core elephant character, and then you can switch between Elephant Luigi, Elephant Peach, Elephant Daisy, Elephant Yellow Toad, Blue Toad, Toadette themselves, and then you have those 7 core characters, and maybe even like as a bonus, you get like a brand new elephant character, right? Like Elephant, I know, Elephant Wario, Elephant Rosalina, Elephant Waluigi. Like, who could be who could else, right? Maybe an elephant, maybe just regular Elephant Toad, right? Or Elephant Captain Toad, right? Maybe they could be a possibility, right? Who knows, right? And then another unique thing here to present here is, say, for like the alternative reskins, imagine if each character can be playable in their elephant form, especially like if we're just focusing on, say, like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Daisy, and then imagine if each of those characters' alternatives can be sort of themed after the Wonder Flowers or Wonder Seeds, or even, say, based on like their powers in general, right? Let's say you're playing as Elephant Mario, and then, you're in elephant form, but yet your outfit is modeled off of the Fire Flower form, right? Something like that, okay? That could be very unique. Maybe that's something that could be possible. Alright. So yes, the elephant form in the next Smash Bros. Game, right? It is a very high possibility, right? It is very possible, okay? And to be honest, I think it can really work, and I'm actually down for it, okay? Alright, so let's get into the final aspects of the video, right? Let's really get into the real final aspects of the video itself. I talked about the elephant form, the elephant fruit, and let's really get into the whole main gimmick that everyone's probably more interested in for the actual theme of the video, right? Like, the actual animal power-up, or the animal-based power-up that I think can represent the Mushroom Kingdom, right? So yes, and to say this very clearly, I know a lot of people, like, if I do present this power-up itself, I know a lot of people out there are probably going to be in disagreement to basically state that they don't want Peach or Daisy to have this form. I'm just going to say this very clearly, right? I don't care, alright? Your opinions are your opinions, okay? I'm not here to change that, alright? I had no problems with Peach and Daisy having the elephant form, and I won't have any problems with them having this form, alright? If you don't like that, that's fine. I'm not here to change that, okay? I'm just here to present this idea, and if you like the idea, that's fine, alright? And you are still able to keep your opinions on that matter for your own self, okay? Just saying that very clearly. Alright. So, here's the interesting thing, okay? So, as I mentioned before, right, the elephant form definitely does fit the whole aesthetics of the Flower Kingdom, right? Especially when you look at the whole gimmick, the Flower Kingdom itself, flowers need water, elephants themselves utilize their trunk in very interesting ways, especially when it comes to using water, right? So, it definitely does fit, right? And one thing you can probably say is why the elephant form is unique, and one idea I actually had on it is that I could see the elephant form actually being more like a guardian deity for the Flower Kingdom, right? And that actually got me thinking, what if there could be other like unique animal guardian themes that are basically something to represent that kingdom overall, and their transformations themselves actually are physical transformations into that elephant, or basically into that animal, rather than being a suit, okay? And I thought it would be very interesting here is that there could be something to represent the Mushroom Kingdom, just like the elephant does for the Flower Kingdom. And I did come across something, and you might find this crazy, but I feel like it could actually work, alright? So, hear me out. This is what I got, okay? So, to begin, I'm going to basically start with this, okay? This is what I'm going to start with, okay? Want to fit in with the Mushroom Kingdom? No problem. Just grab a Bufo shroom and become a true Toad. It's totally worth it. Now, for anyone out there who basically gets it, congratulations. For those out there who do not get it, don't worry, I'm going to explain, alright? So, let's start with this, alright? Let's start with the Japanese translation of what the name would actually be presented as, okay? So, say for instance, Mario ate the Bufo shroom, right? Mario himself would basically be presented as Gamma Mario, okay? Gamma being the Japanese name for Toad itself, alright? Now, to be very clear here, I don't mean Toad as in the servants of Princess Peach, right? Not those Toads, okay? No, I'm referring to Toads as in the amphibian Toad, right? The Toads with worn dried skin are very similar to frogs, okay? Those kind of Toads, okay? Now, in English, I'm going to basically translate this into Bufo Mario, okay? And it's probably pretty obvious to understand why I'm going to go with Bufo. Oh, but if you don't quite get it, I'll basically explain here, okay? So, if, say for instance, if the Toad characters are able to utilize the Toad form, I feel like it would be very, very frustrating and very weird to have the power-up itself referred to as Toad Toad, right? Or Toad Yellow Toad, or Toad Toadette, right? You sort of get it, right? It seems a bit weird, okay? So I decided to go with Bufo instead, right? Now, if you don't get what Bufo is actually the genus name of all true Toads, right? It actually, so any of the true Toads are part of the Bufonidae family, and the word Bufo itself actually comes from Latin, and Latin is actually the word meaning Toad itself, right? So Bufo is just basically all true Toads, okay? So logically, you can say that Bufo Mario is true Toad Mario, right? And if you can actually say that, Toad himself, say for instance, right, if Toad eats a Bufo shroom, it's like that, he's gone from a Toad to a true Toad, right? He's literally, it's a wordplay, right? It's a clever joke, right? It's a clever joke, a pun, a wordplay, whatever it is, right? It is something, okay? Now, yes, a lot of people might actually bring this up here, right? We have the frog suit. Why have a freaking Toad form, right? Why? What's the whole point of it, okay? Well, yes, you are right? We do have a frog form, like that, and the frog suit definitely does have unique gimmicks, alright? It helps you, it sort of gives you like a bit of a hop distance like that to help you jump higher, and you're able to swim through waters, right? That is true, right? And the interesting thing to really focus here on the Bufo shroom is its unique abilities and why it can be so different, right? And what its actually main gimmick and purpose is, and how it can actually be useful to represent the Mushroom Kingdom in a very interesting way, right? And this is basically the abilities or the ideas I'm going to present when it comes to the Bufo shroom, right? Or basically the Bufo Mario form, right? So overall, the Bufo shroom, or basically Bufo form, will actually allow you to utilize the Bufo form to traverse through certain areas that you're not able to go in normal form, right? Even if you're using your fire form, you will not be able to go in these areas unless you're in Bufo form, right? And these are basically the main gimmicks here, okay? So let's start off with this one, right? The first one is able to utilize your tongue in a very similar way to how Yoshi can utilize his tongue to capture enemies or objects themselves, right? You'll be able to utilize the same thing with your own Bufo tongue. You're also, because of the Bufo form, you're given certain certain immunities to poisons themselves, right? So in your Bufo form, you can actually eat the poisonous mushroom without taking damage, right? You can also eat certain poisonous enemies that you're not able to defeat in your normal form, right? Unless you're using some type of certain kind of object to knock them out, you're not able to defeat them with your regular form, right? No matter if you're even in super form or fire form or something like that, or a firefly form, you're not able to defeat them. Well, I mean, you can in firefly form if you're doing like your fireball things like that, but you're not able to defeat them regularly like that. Only the Bufo form will actually allow you to do this, right? And this is because the Bufo form's main gimmick is to actually allow you to escape poisonous scenarios, okay? And that leads into probably the main gimmick overall. The Bufo form will actually allow you to swim and traverse through poisonous areas, right? Swimming through poisonous waters, or even hop and travel through giant poisonous mushroom platforms that you're not able to touch in your regular form to sort of access secret areas, right? To basically access secret scenarios, right? Like imagine if there's a secret area to a secret exit, and you need the Bufo form because you have to traverse through giant, say like you have to swim through some poisonous underwater or theme areas like that, and then you basically have to traverse through like hopping onto giant poisonous mushrooms that can literally kill you if you're in your normal form arm. That's probably the whole gimmick of it, okay? But there are some unique fighting styles that I think could be very interesting here, right? One idea is sort of have like a puffed up, sort of have like a puffed up idea of it, like that. And the idea that's sort of present here is where you can actually suck in air to your body, and with that, you can make yourself look like a puffed up version of yourself, like it's sort of like a balloon style theme toad form, like that. And then what you can do is when the air mixes into your body, you can let this air out, and it sort of become like this sort of like this toxic gas bubble bomb that can basically when it basically explodes, it can knock out enemies or structures in its way, right? Maybe something like that. And then maybe another unique thing is to sort of have like maybe some type of camouflage ability and like that, and allows you to sort of like hide yourself. Maybe even like say for instance, like maybe a unique idea is to say like have like a burrowing ability, right? Maybe to be able to burrow into the ground, and not in the same way with like the drill mushroom, but to burrow in the ground and find underground secrets and stuff like that, or maybe like who knows, right? I'm still working on the details of that one, but I feel like I do got the whole main gimmick of actually utilizing the form itself to traverse through poisonous areas, right? That's probably the whole main gimmick and the main focus that I think the form itself can actually utilize and actually give, okay? Now, why a toad to represent the Mushroom Kingdom, right? Why a toad, right? Why them themselves, right? Well, this is basically the idea I got on this, okay? And do you know how toadstools actually sort of get their name, okay? It's basically presented that toadstools actually get their name is because it was believed that when you saw a mushroom, or basically when you saw a toad sitting on a mushroom, it was believed that the toads were carrier of diseases, right? So if you saw a toad on a mushroom, then that mushroom was believed to be deadly poisonous and it's like that, so it was best to stay clear of it, okay? And it's basically stated that these mushrooms themselves were believed to be the perfect sitting stool for toads to sit on, right? So that's basically how the whole theme of toadstools actually get their name, right? And, having the Mushroom Kingdom and the toads themselves, literally having the name Toad literally seems like it could be a very interesting thing here. What if the animal itself is an actual toad to represent that kingdom, right? Now, yes, a lot of people might even bring this up here. Well, wait a minute. Why are the pop ones called elephants then? Wouldn't that make more sense for that? And that probably would be the case, but at the same time, it would not make the case, okay? So, logically speaking, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to always go full every scenario exactly the same, but it is just something to sort of add in as sort of a main focus here, like it's sort of like a main thing, okay? So that's probably the main gimmicks and main structure when it comes to the form itself, right? And maybe the whole gimmick, like I sort of present here, is to traverse through poisonous areas, right? And to really play it out very differently, alright? Now, yes, maybe one main difference here between the form itself, as I mentioned very clearly, that this form would be very similar to how the alpha form works, where it's an actual physical transformation. That is one thing to be very unique when compared to the frog suit, right? The frog suit is an actual suit form, while this form is a physical transformation, right? Imagine if you're like, say for instance, like it might be possible that you might be able to say like, basically you'll probably like be very similar to Elephant Mario in a way, like you're able to walk just like Elephant Mario, or maybe for instance, you can actually sort of like you'll basically crawl basically you'll look like an actual toad itself. You'll basically walk like how a toad would walk. You could still hop and jump and all that kind of stuff, but you'll walk a bit like how a toad would actually walk, right? Maybe something like that, okay? And then maybe, and say for instance, like because it's actually sort of presented here that if you see like different colorful versions of toads, those toads were basically believed, or basically these toads were basically believed to be toxic. So right, like if you saw like a very colorful toad, then it was sort of stated that this toad would actually be like a disease thing, right? Like these toads would actually carry toxins, okay? So that is probably the main gimmick and main structure here, is that this form itself would allow you to escape these certain poisonous areas, right? These certain poisonous gimmicks themselves, right? Defeat poisonous enemies without taking damage. Traverse through poisonous areas without taking damage, right? Basically like that, right? That is probably the main gimmick, all right? Maybe even have, like, say for instance, right? Imagine if there was like a special kind of rain shower spell like that where it rains like a poisonous gunk, right? And you can't get through that area unless you need the Bufo form, right? Now, yes, you can probably take a chance on it like that, and say like there are ways to actually get past the levels like that. But yeah, if you're trying to actually like get through a certain areas like that to like really beat the level, to really collect something overall, you need the Bufo form in order to get to that, right? You need the Bufo form in order to escape that, in hopes to beat the game and get a perfect score, right? That's basically the idea I'm presenting here, and you don't have to like it if you don't like it. That's just basically what I want to offer in my overall thoughts, okay? So, yes, that is all I really have on the video itself, right? That's everything I really want to discuss, everything I needed to basically talk about. I know a lot of people out there, like I said before, I'm not here to change anyone's opinions on the elephant form, and if you don't like the idea I want to present on this, basically this Bufo form, that's okay, alright? You don't have to like it. I'm not here to change anyone's opinions on it. It's just something I want to discuss, okay? And that's just basically my opinions of it, okay? So that will do it for the video. So in the meantime, before this video ends, please enjoy this sort of this slideshow and stuff like that, where I'm going to have Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Daisy in their small forms, medium forms, and elephant forms. All right. So enjoy the height difference between these 4 characters in these forms. And that'll do it for me, alright? So you all have a great day. Feel free to like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit notification bells, share the video if you feel it needs to be shared, and go ahead and tell me what you think the elephant form could be playable in next. Where else do you think you can see, alright? Oh, wait. I almost forgot. How could I forget, okay? Oh, I'm so glad I just remember this, okay? The Mario movie, alright? The next Mario movie, okay? It is highly possible that the elephant form could make an appearance in the next Mario movie, alright? This is very possible, okay? Now, the Mario movie basically crossed over $1 billion, right? I don't remember how much it was off the top of my head, but it definitely crossed over $1 billion, and the sequel is in the works, okay? And when Wonder came out, Wonder definitely did leave an impression on everybody's mind, right? Like, a lot of people who played it really enjoyed it, okay? So, you could definitely say that it is very highly possible that Wonder itself could have some kind of inspiration in some way to include in the next Mario movie, right? That could even be with the power-ups themselves, right? We might even see the elephant form in the next Mario movie, right? And one thing to state for here is that I hope it's just not Mario alone who utilizes the power-ups in general. I hope we can see other characters with power-ups themselves, right? I'm just basically saying that because I feel like, with the first movie it kind of makes sense, but with the second movie I feel like there's more growth to actually see other characters utilize the power-ups themselves, right? And I do have a way on how the elephant form can be presented, alright? So think of it this way, right? Imagine if we get a scene to where, say, like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Daisy are all trapped in sort of like a prison cage or a prison cell, and they're not able to escape, right? And luckily, Toad and Toadette managed to actually find an elephant fruit itself and bring it to them, right? They managed to find some power-ups themselves, find the elephant fruit. They bring it to them, and luckily, with this, Mario and the gang eat the elephant form, eat the elephant fruit, transform into the elephant form, and they're able to escape, right? And imagine if we can get like a crazy scenario here, very similar to how it was when Mario and Donkey Kong basically went through on a rampage to the town, knocking enemies out of the way, trying to get to Bowser to stop the wedding. Imagine if we get something very similar here in a very similar manner, or to where it's basically Mario and the gang actually going through the town on a rampage as elephants, knocking enemies out of the way. Maybe something like that, right? Could that be possible? Who knows, right? And it might be possible that there could be a completely different power-up instead, but I do feel like it could actually be more interesting and a very interesting gimmick. And I do hope it's just not a complete, like a complete, like, cameo, like, one-shot thing. I do hope it actually serves the purpose for the narrative of the story, rather than just being a simple gag or a simple one-time moment, right? So that's just something to reflect there, right? Okay, so one last thing to include in the video before we really get into the final aspects of what I was going to present earlier and say that, or a little while ago, is basically this, alright? Are we sure this water is sanitary? It seems questionable to me. So yes, that's that, okay? So please enjoy this this slideshow, it's like that, of Mario and Peach, Luigi, and Daisy in different forms and comparing their height differences, okay? So thank you so much. You all have a great day. Goodbye, everybody.